Hey everybody, welcome back. We got another movie to review. And sorry, I had to make some certain adjustments to my Streamlabs just to make sure Twitch was okay. I was a little worried, but things seem to be fine. But anyway, before we continue, please like and subscribe, follow me in the links in the description below. And yeah, I just posted my review of the Ashton Kutcher Cameron Diaz movie What Happens in Vegas for February month. So now I'm going into the movie titled Booty Call, starring Jamie Foxx and Tommy Davidson, a Living Color alumni. And this came out in 1997 and was received mixed reviews, but overall has been very approved film. It came out in 1997, directed by Jeff Pollack, and the budget at the time, this is 1997, mind you, is $7 million. Came out in the box office of 20 million, so it was was very well received by a lot of audience. It stars Tommy Davidson as Rashawn Askins, Jamie Foxx as Buns, Vivica A. Fox as Listerine. Those freaking names, this was killing me. Tamala Jones as Nikki. Art Malik as Ahmed. Bernie Mac as Judge Peabody. And that's pretty much like the main people, but you got some select you got some characters here and there that offer little antics along the way. This is one of those movies that's set on one particular, well, not even just a day, because something like the movie Friday or Clerks, where everything's centered around this one long 24-hour period, or nearly 24-hour period. You got a movie that's even half that time and managed to churn out a story within an evening. So kudos to that. So basically what we have here is these two couples, or at least hopefully soon to be couple, Rashawn, who's been talking to this girl named Nikki for 7 weeks now, and they haven't crossed that boundary of being intimate with one each other yet, but they each respectively think like, oh, tonight's the night kind of situation. But this date go around where they are supposed to be doing like a double date kind of situation. So it's like they when Rashawn and Nikki tell their respective friends about who they're setting up, but it's just like, not just at first they're like, oh, we're not asking you to have the person's baby, we just need you to run interference, that kind of thing. But they don't know each other. It's like a complete blind date type of situation. So what they tell, like, oh, what's each other like? What's their name? It's like, oh, her name is Listerine. Man, that's motherfucking mouthwash. Let's set me up with somebody named Listerine. And about the ridiculous of the name, and it is ridiculous. Who names that child Listerine? It's like it always gets under my skin when I meet people like that with those whack ass names. But then by flip side of that, the fact that Nikki's like, oh, his name is Buns. Like, I am not going to go out with some dude named Buns, because Listerine is very kind of like overly high maintenance type of woman, while Buns is kind of like the player. And of course, they happen to have some stuff in common, turns out, but they always have this kind of like every once in a while bickering going on between each other. uh so Buns kind of clowns Rashawn on the fact that, oh, you know, she haven't given it up to you yet, and it's been 7 weeks. Like I couldn't go out like that. And then they happen upon, because they about to head, take the train all the way out to Chinatown. That's where Nikki and Listerine live, because I guess the rent was cheaper. And they happen upon this crazy woman who's just like all in this dude's face, talking all kinds of crap, and dude's just like taking it. She's just like just crazy, like, kind of like just in your face, emasculating the guy kind of thing. And that's where like Barnes points out, this is why I stick to like booty calls. Of course, it's like a 90s term, but it's basically like, by today's term would be considered sneaky links, but back in the 90s they called them booty calls. Crazy how things change, but a lot more stay the same. Where like Buns points out, this is why I stick to booty calls, like, because you end up like a guy like that who's getting like talked down to by some crazy woman, but he's paying like women with like a broad brush kind of situation. No, what this woman is doing is considerably, she's out of freaking mind. But even to most women who see something like that, they would not like agree how this woman kind of carrying herself like that, just like all loud and acting just belligerent in front of this dude, and is highly disrespectful. And like, you wouldn't encourage or endorse anybody putting their hands on anybody, but if a woman has another woman in her face like that, best believe there'll be like somebody getting dragged down the street, just being like all in some all in your face like that. So they meet up at this Chinese restaurant, and of course Listy is like, oh no, I can't, but Nikki's like, promise, like, I owe you one for this, I will owe you one. So they sit down, and of course Listy is like very tongue-in-cheek about how like Buns is kind of like lower class compared to her high class kind of lifestyle, even though living in a as high class as you claim, you live in a freaking you live in an apartment in Chinatown, and clearly you might make, I don't know what you do, and I don't know any of them what they do for work. You suspect at least 3 out of the 4 are making decent money, but it's just like you would think a person of your status, you'd be living like a nicer apartment, but whatever. So she pulls out her Amex card, like, I can buy and sell you guys. But then of course Buns is pulling out like a gold gas card. It's like, yeah, even though you don't have a car, it's like, oh, I can I get all like the free gas from all over the country, and I if I build up this like basically credit, I can get like a free coffee mug kind of situation, which this day and age you'll think like, oh, it'd be a lot more appreciative of that kind of thing and not look down upon it, but is what it is. But they notice like, oh, this is like this man smoking a cigar close by their table. Buns gets up to try to talk to him, and Listerine points out, like, yo, that's that this is a triad leader of so and so. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you even know that? It's like, well, now I'm thinking about it, scratch that, because I'm thinking like, well, how do you even know that unless it was on the news or something like. But now I'm thinking about it, you living in Chinatown, I'm pretty sure word got around about who this guy is more so than you would have know about it if you lived in any other borough in New York. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll give him that one. But then you see Buns speaking in Chinese or Mandarin to this man, pretty much asking, because it didn't have subtitles, but I remember the subtitles that when it was on cable, about like, oh, hey, basically, I'm truncating this, not word for word. Like, me and my friends trying to get some, and it'll be most appreciated if you put the cigarette out, blah blah blah. So the guy puts out his cigarette, and Buzz walks over like, I know you're impressed. And she see that, like, you know, because even like Rashawn did not know he spoke Mandarin. And it's like, oh, I just watched all those old kung fu movies with my dad as a little kid, and eventually, because we didn't have a cable box to have some type of system in place to show the subtitles for him to follow along with the story. He just found it out, you know, he just learned on the go kind of situation. And Listerine points out the fact that she knows Mandarin herself. And when Rashawn is trying to show some like love, and you know, a very like cutesy thing where he's offering his last shrimp off his shrimp fried rice to Nikki, and of course Buns ended up kind of clowning him for that, and then of course then Listerine, like, you know, points out the, you know, oh, like that's the hood rat crap that's coming out again. Then they start bickering at each other in Mandarin, which is like kind of hilarious. Which is kind of like all the Chinese people at the other tables are looking upon them because they know exactly what they're saying, and it's very crass and everything like that. And then their Chinese waiter comes over and starts like chewing them out for their crassness, and then it's just like everybody just gets up and just pays the bill and get out of there, because it's like, okay, this is getting embarrassing. So they go to a nightclub or a sports bar or something where they dancing and then playing pool. Then they end up taking the night over to Nikki's place to play some cards. And they ask, you know, the question about well, they having a discussion about relationships and everything like that, and Rashawn asks Listerine, like, realistically, would you ever make a man wait 7 weeks to have sex with him? And then Nikki chimed in before Listerine have a chance to answer. It's like, what are you asking her for? She doesn't make a man wait 7 minutes. And it's like, oh wow. And then they started like, you know, bickering and everything like that, and Rashawn had to cool things down. But it just kind of goes to show, it's like, you know, it's great to have standards and boundaries, but at the same time, we both know what we're in this for. Especially if you're seeking a relationship, part of that means that at some point you're expected to have sex with this person. If you're both single and you're going on these dates, spending weeks with each other, and it's like good faith type of dates where it's properly single, nobody else they're like even talking to or thinking about or whatever, then yeah, there should be a reasonable expectation on the woman's part to eventually, maybe not on the first night or even the second night, but eventually, because if he wasn't, because a woman knows in the first few minutes whether or not she will be having sex with his man. So the fact that there was a second, it was like a first and second date, let alone a third date or whatever, and the fact that he even carried on for 7 weeks, then yeah, I think it's fair to say that it is not unreasonable for a guy to expect, you know, some sexual intimacy, because he's a good dude, you have a great job. And even Listerine points out, he's a good dude, he's a great job, he's, you know, he's great to you, all that other stuff. And it's like, why did you make this poor man wait for 7 weeks? And that's like even like a woman would reasonably ask that of a woman who's holding out on a dude who's checking all the boxes as possible. Even though he's on a shorter side of things, and he's kind of skinny, but because not saying like not every girl wants a dude with like a six-pack abs, but most girls typically would think of like having like a tall dude as their man, but for that man to having a tall dude to be their partner. But this goes to show that just because he's not that tall doesn't mean you automatically disqualify him, because he checks all the boxes. So it's reasonable to ask, like, hey, 7 weeks, it's definitely long enough for a guy to like get to that point. Not saying he's not old nothing, but considering the context of the situation, I wouldn't behoove the guy to be a little like, okay, what's up kind of thing. Because if he wasn't going to do it, then you're stringing him along, and then you're the asshole. What's something else I want to say, but pretty much like said all I need to say about that subject. But then Listerine and Buns again, like playing footsie, getting intimate and everything like that. So nowadays, like, okay, Buns and Listerine go to Listerine's apartment to fool around, while Nikki and Rashawn started getting intimate. But then when Rashawn is trying to pull out the only condom that he has, Nikki's dog snatches it and kind of messes with it, so it's unusable. So because it's in the 1990s, and like the whole AIDS epidemic and scare and everything like that, and yes, aside from the sexual disease that you could possibly get, is also, more importantly, keeps from unwanted pregnancies. So it's ideal to have a condom. It's the first line of defense, very important. So it's responsible, but she is like, very like kind of by the book type of woman kind of situation. And then she goes running off like, well, it's in a different scene. He's talking about like, well, I'll get to it. But she's like, like you gotta get a condom. It's like no glove, no love kind of situation. That was like a thing in the 90s. That was like a whole term, no glove, no love. So Rashawn decides like, okay, I gotta go to the store. We gotta get a condom. But then Nikki calls Listerine, convinces her, and she overhearing him, because this is like a funny routine thing. Every time Buns and Listerine are alone together, you get, because Jamie Foxx is a great comedian and he's good with impressions. So every time they call over, you hear like a different impersonation. They getting like really freaky with each other, and it's like one time is Martin Luther King, another time was Captain Kirk. It was just like, it's really funny. So like they always got me, but Buzz got frustrated. It's like, fine, yeah, go get these condoms. Let's go get these condoms. So they go to this Chinese store nearby, and the guy offered him like, this lambskin kind of condoms, which I'm shocked that if that even is still like a thing, because there's been word about it not being super effective. Talking like it's a freaking Pokemon. It's not super effective. So they end up spending like nearly $40 on this doggone thing. So they get back, and she points, and Nikki points out, this doesn't protect you from sexual diseases, and it starts like, it's like a warning. She starts listing off stuff like she's a warning box, this doesn't protect you from da 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 da. It's like, lady, I'm clear as a bell. It's like clean. I'm don't have to worry about it. But it's like, no, like you need like not lambskin condoms. You need like these other proper condoms. And so once he had to get up, go out, to get like the proper type of condom. But then she then calls over to Listerine's place, and the look on Buns' face is priceless. Like, I am not getting up. I am not getting up right now. Do not ask me. It's like how I feel. God, if you've ever been in a relationship and your girl asks you to do something freaking ridiculous when you're relaxing, or if it's like raining outside or snowing outside or whatever kind of conditions where you do not want to get up, but then she convinces him to go. So he the store they went to previously is closed, so they go to the convenience store, and they end up getting like the proper condoms. So they go back, and you think like, okay, now we're on the roll. But then this actually has stopped being a thing, because I'm not sure, because I was like a little kid, so I wouldn't know. But at that time in the 90s, I'm imagining that a lot of girls have to use Reynolds wrap around their private parts, so that way a guy can go down on them safely. But I imagine that got done away very quickly, because that just seems so stupid to me. But I bet safe, but it's just like, as long as you take care of yourself down there, ladies, you know, a guy can do his business for you. But anyway, Rashawn Try attempts to go down on her, but she wants him to go get like the Reynolds wrap out of her kitchen, but it's all empty. Why you put an empty thing of plastic wrap back into your cupboard instead of throwing it away altogether? But whatever, that's nitpicking at the point. But Rashawn's like, fine, I just won't go down on you. Like, no, I want you to do that, but it's just like, but just go to back to the store and get the Reynolds. Like, lady, because even as a kid, and I knew of sex, so like, despite my young age, I knew what they're alluding to. I wasn't a complete idiot, but it just like, I just was like, I felt the frustration at on the sheer fact that Rashawn had to go in and out of this doggone house, like because Rashawn and Buns earlier made a gentleman's bet whether or not Rashawn would actually manage to do the deed that night after 7 weeks of waiting. And of course it's childish, but that was the whole part of the plot. But it's just like, I'm just like, partway through the movie, you completely forget about the whole bet situation, because the whole rigmarole with all these antics and these crazy characters along the way, just for these guys, well, at least Rashawn, to hook up with Nikki tonight. And you just rooting for this guy because it's like, oh my God, lady, just let him get something, because you're sending him out on these not wild goose chases, but it's like, oh my God, just get it done already. This is like ridiculous. Like, oh my God, I couldn't deal with it. Like, it's like, and then like even Buns is like, when he goes out and he takes the dog, because she was trying to walk her dog, but he's like, no, he doesn't want the whole mood to die down or completely evaporate altogether. So he's like, no, I'll walk the dog. I need you to look sexy and everything like that. You got your nice little lingerie on. No, you stay here, I will walk the dog. Then he tends to go out and he doesn't want to bother Buns again, but then Nikki once again tells Listerine, and it's like, I'm not even, and he tells his friend, because like Buns is so frustrated. It's like the audience right now. It's like I'm just like like uh, I'm gonna hurt somebody. Like I'm trying to do my business, and like I keep having to take off my clothes and put them back on, back and forth, going out on these ridiculous little errands. It's like, and then he walks outside. It's like I'm not even attempting to do what you're planning on doing anyway. So that's the adds to the frustration right now. Like I'm gonna hurt somebody. Like not you because I know you. I'm not you because you're a woman. I don't hit women, but I'm gonna hurt somebody. Like I'm gonna break this phone. And he's like, he tells his friend like, "You're my friend, but I might hurt you because like this. Get these freaking rounds up, get it done, okay?" So they go back to the convenience store, and then they end up getting clowned by the clerks about like Reynolds rapping 2 in the morning, and it's like the clear indication that because people use a clown, I imagine clown on guys for going down on girls. Even though it's like, why not? It's fun. I mean, like I'm not telling any dude who doesn't want to do it to do it, but it's just fun for me. As long as the girls clean down there, it's fun for me. And imagine it for a lot of guys. But then you see Bernie Mac as this judge that goes to Rashawn's mom's church, and it's like Bernie Mac had the funniest line in his entire scene. He just chews up the scene all entirely, where it's like, Reynolds rapping 2 in the morning? Sounds like you plan on eating more than a sandwich. That always stuck with me. It's so funny. It's just the sheer delivery of it. And he starts preaching to these guys. And when the clerks pointed out, it's like, that leads to sexual frustration. It's like, I know how you guys feel. It seems like that they is calling your name, like rub on it. You rub, yeah. It's like your boss, like, man, you make my nipples hard. I was like, what is wrong? The entire scene is so freaking funny. It's greatly shot. And then like you see the judge's clerk walk in dressed to the nines, looking gorgeous, and she's like, "Hey, judge," so they're about to do something, and it's like, "What's taking so long?" It's like, it's like, remember what I said because I said it, and it's like, yeah, all this preaching, he's a complete hypocrite. But then, right before they, about to buy like a cheaper plastic wrap, the store is nearly robbed, and then the clerks take out their guns and start shooting up the entire place. Didn't even hit the guy, and then the guy gets up and it's like, "Are you out of your mind?" And then Sean like shows some like level of bravado, just decks the dude unconscious. The guys leave with the freaking plastic wrap covered in all kinds of chips and feathers and all this other crap, and it's like, it's the longest night you ever imagined. It's like, oh my god. So they go there, and then because they clearly don't know what they need the plastic wrap where it needs to go, obviously, on, they end up wrapping themselves like sandwiches, and they get clowned by these girls. So they're just out of frustration, they just like, okay, we're heading out. This is crazy. We've been running ragged for you guys just to laugh at us, so we don't have to deal with it. They tried to apologize to the guys. They end up in like a taxi cab, thinking it's about, because the thing is like I think I'm getting the whole place confused. No, Buns lets it blurts out by the fact that, it looks like Rashawn, you won the bet, because Rashawn and Nikki's about to make up. But then they ask like, what bet? And then they get upset. They get upset about the fact that, oh, you made a bet on us, so this is a game to you guys. And then, like, you know, one of the cabbies thinking like, oh, it's kind of like a, you know, about to get robbed or something. Buns end up stealing the gun from this guy, but it ends up going off and grazing Rashawn in the leg. They end up going to the hospital, where Buns takes him to like to get checked up on. He leaves him after, because he had to put on his smock and disguise and everything like that, because some, you know, irritating clerk refused to let them in, given the fact that, you know, he doesn't have any insurance, kind of thing. It's like a whole issue. But it's a joke on the fact that, oh, doctors won't work on you because you don't have insurance. Clearly they will still work on you because they're takes a Hippocratic oath. They have to administer help when needed, and they hash out other stuff after the fact because they can't let nobody possibly die on their watch. That'll be irresponsible, obviously. But shout out to like the YouTuber Dr. Mike, you know, to learn some stuff here. So they end up well, Rashawn being put under I don't know, morphine, or not morphine, like anesthesia or something like that. And so he's knocked out, you know, while he's getting treated for his wound. Then they end up pushing him into a room next to other people who, which one of them was being prepped for I don't know, it's like getting some kind of procedure on his private parts, which clearly doesn't want to get it done. I don't know why you're in there for that stuff, but he's switching his medical chart thing with Rashawn while he's under. Don't know why he never did it earlier with some other patient that was next to him, but it leads to another set of hijinks where they thinking Rashawn is a different guy. They take him to the emergency room to, you know, get his penis snipped. And not the penis, but, you know, like the procedure, so that way you can't have kids or anything like that. Forgot the title of it, but vasectomy, that's the word. But Nikki, Listerine, and Buns scoured the floor trying to find Rashawn. Nikki ends up finding him, and the only way to stop the procedure is screams like, he doesn't have any insurance, and then that's when it stops. It's like so they save Rashawn's penis, but she's still upset with him, given the fact that, you know, he doesn't well, I say they both are in the wrong. She's in the wrong. The fact that she even let it get on this long. If you're really into the guy, then let it be known. Clearly, you going out with him for a reason, because you really like him and you continue with dating him. So clearly, you want to get to that point. So you shouldn't play games like that. If this guy is genuine, it's not like, you know, you don't want to look like a prude because you wouldn't go all the way on the first date. Nobody expects you to do that. But if it's getting past the third date stage, and if you didn't like him, it would have been a second date, let alone a third, or even 7 weeks into this whole get to know you stage. But he's wrong because she points out that you're afraid to take that step with me because you're afraid what Buns might think. And it's like, so Rashawn, to prove his love to Nikki, the fact that he lifts up his entire gown to show off his naked body in front of her, Listerine, and Buns, just to prove, like, I don't care what he thinks despite everything. It's like, I don't know how that does prove her love. I mean, I know how this, because the fact that he doesn't care about being embarrassed in front of Buns, but it's like, you know, that's all it took, really. But whatever. And then, of course, Listy and Buns hook up and everything like that. So the movie ends with Nikki and Rashawn, finally having sex. So and then you see like Buns and Listerine getting into some freaky BDSM situation. So it's a fun movie. Still holds up to this day. Not one of the greatest films. Not nobody expecting it to be like Godfather or anything like that, but it's a fun classic movie. Very entertaining. Definitely kind of given the outfits that Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx was wearing, definitely like a time capsule of a movie, because it's clearly supposed to set in the 90s, late 90s. And coincidentally, this movie also was coming out around the same time as another movie with the same premise, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt and what's his name? Will Friedle, called Trojan War. Pretty much with the same premise, where it's like the guy gotta find like a condom in order to hook up with this girl that he's been dating for a while. And the director of the movie Trojan War points out, it literally said the words, "Sometimes these things just bubble up from the zeitgeist." And sure, I guess you can chop it up as coincidental. It's not like to this day and age where everybody and their mama is doing like multiverse story plot lines, because the MCU is doing it and it's a hot commodity, so we gotta do it too, especially after Everything Everywhere All at Once did it. So everybody, it's a hot commodity now, everybody gotta do it, because that's where the coins are right now. And that's where people get sick of it, because like everybody gotta do it, because everybody's making money some way, shape, or form. Everywhere All at Once got an Oscar and everything like that, and praise of his plot line, but you're kind of missing a point to it. It wasn't the multiverse thing that make it like superb. It's just like the acting and the premise of a mother-daughter relationship kind of situation. But can you imagine that as popular a Booty Call got, and then you see coincidentally Trojan War coming out at the same time, then everybody the year after started doing plot lines about guys trying to get laid but they can't find a condom kind of situation, so antics ensue. Then that reached out of the world of coincidence and into straight up like, not plagiarism, but just pretty much like, okay, you're going through the same gimmick, because these other two did it well, and they was out the gate first, so you see it makes some money, so now every studio is trying to have that same plot. That's where it gets out of the whole realm of coincidence and into just straight up, oh, it make money, so we gotta do it too. And I kind of wish like certain studios would stop that, because people crapping on MCU's multiverse saga, because every other studio is trying to do their own thing with it, and it's like, clearly you're just like, okay, you hopping on a bandwagon now, and you're not, because you don't want to come with anything original. You just pretty much like, okay, it made money, that's all we care about, despite any kind of creative ideas. We want to make a guaranteed amount of money, and not something we have to possibly risk anything on. But anyway, enough of that diatribe. That is Booty Call. So yeah, what is the next couple of movies that I'll be reviewing for February? And one of them is also a Jamie Foxx film, Collateral. And the other movie that I'll be reviewing as part of February is the Brad Pitt film, the classic Meet Joe Black. So look forward to that next week, and possibly sooner, given the fact that I have some free time before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out. But yeah, I will see you guys soon. Please leave a comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know what you think of this movie, if you remember seeing it before. If not, highly recommend you checking out. It's very hilarious. You have a great time. And yeah, how many weeks? Yeah, literally 2 weeks before Rebirth comes out. So once that comes out, that's gonna soak up so much of my time. So I'm trying to get enough done for February as much as I can, because some Black History Month type films with black leading cast, and some romantic comedies. Is where I pour some energy into the romantic comedy type of genres for February, because love is in the air and it's Black History Month, so you got celebrating two big things. So anyway, I will see you guys soon. They'll play some Overwatch tonight, so look forward to that. And yeah, take care. Happy Valentine's Day for you couples out there in the world. Peace.